There's no Western leader that has been in office as long as you have.
Do I care about that?
How are you, beautiful and amazing people? Guys, in today's video, we are talking about Paul Kagame's defiance, Paul Kagame's reaction. You know, he has not been a good person to the West, and that is okay, and we love it, by the way. So today we want to focus on sanctions part because he has been talking about this story since the year 23 up to 26. Before I actually do a deep analysis, let's listen to these videos and then I'll be back.
The sanction is, hey, James Kabarebe, sanction is, officers, sanction is for what? You are just foolish, absolutely foolish. Anybody dares ugatanga lessons. See little boy, little girl, kunuka wava mu Europe cyangwa America cyangwa Canada uratanga lessons. Lessons, what lessons? What lessons does anybody have to give to me about my life, about my country, about my people? That is absolute stupidity. We cannot be driven on that basis. Between dealing with existential threats and dealing with threats to punish Rwanda for one thing or another, without a second thought, I'll turn my guns to the existential threat, as if the other one doesn't exist. We are not dealing with a situation that is new to us. We have faced existential threats for years. We had the worst tragedy in '94. You really come to me and start threatening threats for defending myself, threatening sanctions because I'm defending myself, and you think I have any iota of fear for that? You know, I gave an example during our last 30th commemoration in my speech. I told people how an old woman, during the genocide, before they killed her, killers asked her to choose how she was going to be killed. And the answer to them was to spit in their face. That's what this old woman did. So you can imagine how much I'm going to spit in the face of anyone who tells me to choose between which death I should face. We have to live our lives, we have to fight for that, we have to live the way we want. And I tell anybody to his face to go to hell. If anyone comes around and thinks they can, you know, they come and say, hey, we're going to sanction you. To what? Go to hell. Just go to hell. You have your own issues to deal with. Go and deal with your own issues. Leave me to mine. This is the spirit, I think, Rwandans must have in their daily lives. So my worry is not about how powerful these people are that come down upon us and throw anything at us. I'm never worried about that. I worry about one thing, which has lived on for centuries. It's for Rwandans. It's for Africans who sit back and find nothing wrong with accepting to be treated like that. That's my only worry. When can Rwandans, when can Africans refuse to be mistreated like this? To be told they have no value, to be told that their lives have to be lived as a result of a favor they are being done by somebody else. What a shame for people to accept that even for a moment. You must not accept it. You must get up and fight for yourself.
Are you afraid of Western sanctions because of the presence denounced of your troops in DRC?
Let me tell you this. With our history, with all these things we are talking about, the way we have been shaped by these hardships and injustices, and it doesn't matter by who, we are not afraid of anything.
There's no Western leader that has been in office as long as you have.
Do I care about that?
Because
The Western leader is a Western leader.
Because electorates normally
I'm
normally throw people out. The nature of elections and democracies is that people get tired of it and they move to another person.
That is if you are telling me, that everyone has to conform to what the West tells us to do. I'm not one of those people. The Western world is a world on its own. It has many good things that they do. It has many bad things they do.
There's no democratically elected leader in a generally accepted democracy that has been in office as long as you.
Democracy is not defined by the West. No. If it does, then what happens of the contradictions that happen in the West?
Kagame has put sanctions on the US. Now, you're not dreaming, you're not tripping, this is something real. So he decided to punish the USA, which is crazy, guys. After the USA told him to stop prosecuting people on the eastern part of Congo and doing all the maneuver that we heard of, he got mad. He was like, no, you can't tell me that. I'm Kagame, I'm the president of Rwanda, the biggest country in the world. I'm gonna put sanctions on you, the USA. Mental illness is not just for the poor people. It could be for anybody. Even the president of Rwanda, God, it needs to be looked at. How can you punish a big country like the USA? I don't know what kind of advisors he has, but I don't know, he needs to get looked at, like real, like for real. He said, no, I'm gonna sanction you, the USA, because of the president of Rwanda.
Paul Kagame is the president of Rwanda, and recently he has been coming out boldly and telling the West to their faces, go to hell with your sanctions. And guys, actually, you see this relationship between him and the West. Sometimes you feel like it's a cooperation between him and the West. Sometimes you will feel like it's a tense situation. And of course, his reaction towards the sanction, it has never been quiet since they started the shenanigans of sanctioning countries. So, of late, so many Western countries have actually raised concerns about Rwanda's participation or Rwanda's role in regional conflicts, more so in Congo. And, they are telling them that, if actually it's true you are involved, then we are going to introduce, something that we call diplomatic pressure. We are going to introduce sanctions. We are going to sanction your country, and they are not going to do any business with anybody. And his response, Kagame's response, always calm, firm, and unapologetically direct to their faces. So instead of the president of Rwanda panicking and retreating and becoming fearful, he always comes up with something bigger and better that people really understands him. I don't know how he gets to flip this story. I mean, that guy is just a genius. So for Paul Kagame, this story of sanctions, it's not all about sanctions as you may think. It's about sovereignty. So most of the time, he has been questioning why African nations are always judged, warned, and or even probably they are punished by the same Western powers that once colonized them. Why? That is the question that he has always been asking. So for the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, he says that Rwanda has paid the highest price in history, from colonial divisions to the genocide in 1994. And of course, he believes that Rwanda has earned the right to make its own security and political decisions without external factors. So, my good people, when the West talks about, so my good people, another thing that he always talks about, that is now Paul Kagame, he says that, or he asks them. So guys, there is this question again that he normally talks about or asks in conferences, in meetings, high-end meetings, of course, in regional meetings, he normally asks this question: where was the West when Rwanda was collapsing? Remember, in early 90s, what happened? He asks us also, where were the sanctions when the lives were being lost? Nobody was there for them. They actually like, not really like, I mean, you see, like, if you want the best for your country, that's what I am talking about, not really literally like fighting. He believes that sanctions is not a tool of justice, but it's a tool of control. They use sanction to, control you. Remember what they did to Venezuela? Yeah. So for most of us, Paul Kagame's message, it extremely resonates with so many of us, because Kagame does not just speak like, somebody who is seeking approval. He is speaking as if he's sending a warning. He is speaking, for the people of Rwanda. And he's saying that Rwanda will never ever be bullied. Rwanda will not be isolated, and Rwanda will not be dictated. So that doesn't go well with the critics, of course, because for them, they are saying that sanctions are about accountability and, of course, regional stability. That's the Western world. So, of course, human rights is in between all these shenanigans, and they are saying that for Paul Kagame, his stance, his remarks, his reaction, most of the time it silences the dissent and ignores legitimate concerns. And therefore, to them, defiance is not leadership, it's avoidance. That's what they believe. But me, I believe that he's fighting for the people of Rwanda. Is actually, what he doesn't want is what we said earlier. He doesn't want Rwanda to be bullied, isolated, or dictated to. So in this case, we will say human rights bodies or departments, they are puppets of the West. So for Paul Kagame, Rwanda has been growing economically. He has invested in health and tech, and he has built institutions without dependence on the West or Western charity. And for him, if a sanction comes, Rwanda will survive, just like it has been surviving before. And guys, did you know that Rwanda was built without these charity organizations and IMF and everything that you talk about? So his reaction to the sanctions that the West is talking about, it's not an emotional reaction, it's a strategic reaction. I believe so. It actually tells us that Rwanda is choosing dignity over dependence and control over compliance, and of course self-determination over approval. So for me, I personally believe that Paul Kagame is a visionary African leader and authoritarian leader. And of course, one thing is clear: when the West speaks in the languages of sanctioning here, sanctioning there, Paul Kagame is going to respond in the language of resistance. And that is it for today, guys. I don't know what you think about Paul Kagame's reaction.